right, good afternoon. This is Sarah from My Montana Kitchen. And today we are going to talk about what ingredients you must have and what ingredients aren't really that necessary. I've seen so many people say things like, well, I'd like to do Trim Healthy Mama, but there's too many special ingredients. Or I'd like to do THM, but I can't afford it. It's too expensive. So I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be that way. THM can be done with basic, simple foods that you can find at any grocery store. So I'm just going to go through today a few of my favorite things that I always have on hand, and maybe I can give you a few ideas about how to use them. I would love in the comments for you to go ahead and let me know what ingredients are must-haves at your house. And on the converse side, are there some things that you don't ever use that you have in your pantry that you don't use? And we're going to talk about some of those things. So starting out, I'm going to start with some canned items that I had in my pantry. These are things that I always keep on hand. These are not special ingredient products. You can find them anywhere. But I always have canned tomatoes because I add canned tomatoes to my taco meat. You can add it, you can make chili. It's an easy way, to stretch a pound of ground meat. Then I also always have beans. My family loves rice and beans. I put beans in our taco meat, and that would be an E fuel, of course, if you put beans in your taco meat, and you wouldn't want to eat it with sour cream or cheese, but with pico de gallo and fresh lime and lettuce, and that would be an E. And then another thing that I always have on hand is canned chicken. So this is super convenient if I don't have time to cook chicken for a meal. You can put it on a salad. And I cook chicken a lot of times in my Instant Pot, but even if I don't have time for that, I can open this can. And I get these from Costco, and Costco every once in a while will have these on sale. And so it's a good deal. I think there's 6 in a pack when you get them on sale. So those are some canned goods that I always have in my pantry. Well, now let's talk about a few other things. So let's see here. Let's talk about sweeteners. All right. So if you go to Walmart, you can find Pure, Pyure, just at Walmart. And it's like maybe $6 for a bag. But you can also now find Swerve, which is erythritol. You can buy Swerve at Walmart. You can even buy xylitol at Walmart. And of course, there are stevia blends that you can buy at Walmart also. So I'm going to tell you what my sweetener must-haves are and explain to you how I use them. So first of all is for my drinks and my smoothies and things like that, I always use the THM Pure Stevia. This is by far the best stevia that I have ever tasted, and I'm just hooked. So this is one thing I always will buy from THM. Sometimes it will go on sale, and so when that happens, I'll just buy a couple of them. But I mean, really, this is the 1 ounce package. It will last me a couple of months because most of the time you're only using it a dunk at a time, which is 1/32 of a teaspoon. So a little goes a long ways. So this is one thing I do recommend that you splurge on and get. This is important. Then I also have Supersweet, which is a blend of erythritol and stevia. And this, again, you can make your own at home. But this one, I buy it from THM. This is one of the things that I do buy because the only thing I use my Supersweet for is tea. So I'd take 4 tea bags, 4 1-gallons or 4 family-sized tea bags, steep them in hot water, and then I add 3 tablespoons of Supersweet, and it makes it perfectly for my family. My entire family loves it. I serve it to company all the time, and nobody really says anything. In fact, some people say, oh, that's sugar-free. That tastes really good. So Supersweet is something that I do always have on hand. Then Gentle Sweet. Now, confession, I'm not sure that I have ever actually ordered Gentle Sweet from THM. I have always made my own. And I make my own with 2 cups of xylitol, 1 cup of erythritol, and 1 teaspoon of stevia. Then I put it in my Vitamix blender and I blend it until it's a powder. And I have my own homemade Gentle Sweet. Now, the last couple times I've gotten lazy and I haven't blended it. I just put it all in my container right here and I give it a good shake until it's all mixed together, and it's perfect for baking. The reason you would want it as a powder would be if you use it in a drink, so it dissolves easily, or if you're using it to make chocolate or a candy of some kind, you would want it to be powdered. But if you're just using it in baking, it doesn't even have to be blended. So this is something I always have on hand. But again, I buy my own xylitol, erythritol, and stevia, and I make my own. I don't actually buy this from THM. All right, so we've covered sweeteners. Now let's talk about a couple of things that you may have in your pantry that maybe you don't know what to do with them, okay? So one of those would be Baobab. Now I know everything is backwards on here. I apologize for that. But I use Baobab daily, especially right now because sickness is going around again and things are ramping up. We're heading into the winter season when germs are everywhere and people are getting sick. And so my entire family is pumping the Baobab. So I put it in my Good Girl moonshines. I put it in tea. I made a limeade the other day. I took the juice of like maybe 4 limes and squeezed them into a very small pitcher. And then I added, I think, a tablespoon or 4 teaspoons of Baobab. And I added some sweeteners, some dukes of stevia, and I made limeade, mixed it all together real well, made limeade for my family. And my whole family loved it. And even my picky 12-year-old daughter, who is super picky about anything that's healthy remotely, she loved it. And she's been making Baobab lemonade, same idea, but with lemons. And that's a great way to get Baobab. There's Boost juice, which is basically just Baobab and water and sweetener. Baobab has kind of a citrusy flavor, so it works really well with those types of drinks. But you can put Baobab in your oatmeal, which I do. You can put it in your smoothies. You can put it in just about anything, except I wouldn't recommend putting it in coffee. Excuse me, in coffee, because it does have like that citrusy kind of flavor, and that's not usually what you're looking for when it comes to coffee. So this is something though that I buy from THM. I used to be able to buy it on Amazon from another brand. I don't even know if they still sell it anymore. I've just switched to buying it from THM whenever it goes on sale, and that's what I do. All right, so while we're talking about things to buy from THM, let's talk about peanut flour. Peanut flour is not something you have to do this plan at all, but this is something that I do like to keep on hand. I can make chocolate peanut butter with it. You can make a fuel pull peanut butter with it. You can add it to smoothies and milkshakes for peanut butter flavor. You can add it to oatmeal for peanut butter oatmeal because it's low in fat, so it's not going to be a conflicting source with your oatmeal. This I do buy from THM, but sometimes I also buy a brand on Amazon, called Protein Plus, I think is what it's called. I sometimes buy that. I've not been going through peanut flour very much recently because after I had COVID back last November, I got well and all that. And then in February, I started having a lot of problems with things tasting terrible to me. Coffee, chocolate, peanut butter, bananas, some meats, chicken, a lot of things I just could not eat. And so some of that is getting better now. Finally, after how many months, I think my coffee is finally tasting normal again. If I even remember what it was supposed to taste like to begin with. It's been so long, who knows if I really remember. But peanut butter was one of those things that I could not eat for a long time because of that weird tasting problem. So I have not been going through as much peanut flour as I used to. But when I loved peanut butter, I went through a lot of this. Make chocolate peanut butter. You can mix it together with sweetener and water. I have a recipe on my site for peanut butter chocolate chip cookie dough. You just mix it all together. You can make it into little dough balls, or you can eat it with a spoon. It takes 2 minutes, kind of like 2-minute truffles. Those use peanut flour. So those are some ways you can use it. Again, you don't have to buy it from THM. You can buy it elsewhere. And I get asked this question a lot: is peanut powder the same as peanut flour? And the answer is yes, pretty much. However, you want to watch if you buy it at the store, if you buy peanut powder at the store, you want to watch and make sure that there's no added sugar in it, because sometimes they'll sneak sugar into those peanut powders and you don't want that. So there's a few things. And then baking blend. I used to always make my own baking blend, and I use the recipe from Nilly's recipe. You can find that on YouTube. And that's what I always used for my baking blend. However, in recent months, I've decided it is just easier for me to just buy it from THM. Whenever it goes on sale, it's like $5 or $6 a bag. It's not super expensive, and I can just add it to my order. And so that's what I've been doing. Do you have to have baking blend? No. You can make your own baking blend by just using, and in any recipe that calls for baking blend, you can make your own recipe of equal parts almond flour, coconut flour, and flax meal. Now, please do note that this will always be an S fuel because of the almond, the coconut, and the flax meal, okay? But you can use that in equal amounts for any recipe that calls for baking blend. Just be aware that it could possibly change the fuel type. If something is fuel pool and you were using fuel pool baking blend, but you use this frugal mix, then it will change that to an S. So be aware of that. I do always have apple cider vinegar on hand. Okay. Again, though, this is something you can buy at any grocery store. And talking about tea, oh, something else I always have is oatmeal. Okay, because you can have that for breakfast. I like to make baked oatmeal especially, and serve it with yogurt on top and maybe some berries, maybe some sugar-free maple syrup. And you can also make, of course, regular oatmeal that you cook on the stove. And then something my family absolutely loves are banana muffins made with the oatmeal. So this would be in the very first THM cookbook that they released. Oh, I think it was in 2015. And there's a recipe for BAM cake, Bust a Myth banana cake. Well, I take that recipe, it uses oatmeal, and I mix it all in my blender. It's super easy because you do it all in your blender. And then I make them into muffins instead of a cake. And sometimes I'll add a few chocolate chips, not enough to make it a crossover. And my kids devour those. So I like to have oatmeal on hand so I can make those. Fruit, of course, and vegetables, of course, all things I keep on hand. So one more thing that I wanted to show you that is, I guess you might call it a special ingredient. It's becoming much more common these days, thankfully. And that is Lily's chocolate chips. Now, my Walmart has started selling Lily's chocolate chips, and my favorite ones are the salted caramel. I like to just eat those a few at a time to get a little sweet fix. Now I'm out of those because I put the last of them in my chocolate zucchini cupcakes this week. But they also have the mint chocolate ones. They have butterscotch. They have a bunch of different flavors. But I like to get these and not necessarily use them in a recipe, although I do sometimes, but I like to use them for snacking. Or if it's after a meal and I just need a little something sweet, I just take a few of those and eat them and enjoy them. So many things that you can buy at the grocery store nowadays that when I first started THM 5-6 years ago, there was no such thing. And so it really is amazing all the things that you can find. Now, what about just gelatin? You don't have to buy just gelatin from THM, although I do sometimes. But you can also just use regular old plain Knox gelatin that you find at Walmart. Psyllium husk and psyllium flakes. I've seen a lot of people talking about those and not using them. I'm guilty of the same. I just bought the psyllium flakes so I could try Wonder Wraps again. I've only tried them once and it didn't turn out very well for me. So I just have never tried to make them again, but I would like to try to make them. So I ordered some, but I haven't made them yet. The psyllium husk fiber, I have a fuel pool bread recipe on my blog called Low Carb Sandwich Rolls that uses those. So if you have some of that lurking in your cabinet, you can look up that recipe and make them. But I hope this gives you a few ideas. You see so many times special ingredients. What am I, how can I do this without them? I hope that this has given you a few ideas of how you can get around that, the things that are worth buying from Trim Healthy Mama, and the things that you can buy somewhere else, and it's just as good. I will say THM has amazing quality in their ingredients, and I trust their quality process. So if that's something that's important to you, I would encourage you to do that. And if shipping is a big deal, maybe you have a friend close by or a family member who would like to order some things also. And we've done that around here sometimes. Are you going to put in an order? Okay, well, let's do it together and we split the shipping so it doesn't cost quite as much. Otherwise, wait until there's a sale going on. And when there's a sale going on, you can stock up. And that's usually what I do. So I would love to hear from you. What are your staples that you always keep in your pantry, so that you can make things on the spur of the moment? And then also let me know, what are some things you have lurking in your pantry that you thought you were going to use, but you're actually not using and they're just kind of taking up space? I would love to hear that as well. So go ahead and put that in the comments below.